our familiar faces, our good friends who come to everything. I just want to say, I know that I speak for Andy and Tom and Pam when we say that we really, really love you for coming, and we value your loyalty, your continuous support, and your friendship that you extend to our charity. So thank you so much for supporting us over the years. I would also like to extend a big thank you to Flourish, who have adopted us as our charity corporate partnership for the past year. And an extra big thank you to Harriet, Hannah, and Georgie. Sorry, I do know your name, I'm just really nervous. Gianna, sorry. For those of you who don't know, very often my mind works faster than my mouth, which means I tend to spew a lot of information at them in meetings and then just walk off, and then they go and make sense of all of it and make it look wonderful and send out press releases that get us interviews. So thank you so much, guys, for the past year. Jordan, where are you? Big thank you to Jordan from Clemenson Church, who sponsored us a fabulous prize for tonight. Thank you to thank you to Brenda as well, who's also organised some prizes for us tonight. Michael Looms at Chiltern Printers for the beautiful magazines that you see on the tables in front of you. Alexia and Ross for their very generous Giving Tree prizes. And also, this is a big thank you for Jansen's Property. Boys at the back. These are the guys that make our corporate events the success that they are. They also have a team WhatsApp group, which basically just gives me a platform to spam all of them with really, really bad jokes. So thank you for that as well, guys. And then for my incredible trustees, you're all a bit spread out across the hall tonight. You guys are always there with a good word and to give me a cuddle when I have the occasional wobble. Thank you so much. And then last but not least, could I please have a very big round of applause for Pam. Not only has she organised all the beautiful gift bags that you see on the Giving Tree tonight, but she does a lot of work behind the scenes. She picks me up, she supports me, so thank you for the laughs, Pam, along the way. And if I haven't mentioned your name tonight, it's not that I don't love you, it's just because I am really, really nervous, which is why I don't have cardboard, I've got a phone. And also I'm a little bit ditzy. So, what I would say is that 2022 has been a fabulous year for the charity. We have achieved, I think, in some ways more than we ever thought we would achieve. However, I'm not going to tell you about that. I'm going to hand you over to the man who knows more about myocarditis than the rest of us will ever know in a lifetime, Sanjay.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a great pleasure to be here. After 2 years of COVID, the panic that I had this morning was, where's my black tie suit? And I'm sure many of you have felt that. So just to be in company today is an amazing achievement and just wonderful to be in this company. So I'm going to tell you a story. It's not your story, it's Andy's story. It's a journey. It's about impact and how that can make a difference and the good that can come out of that. And it's a good story. First of all, some background. So I'm a cardiologist. I work at the Royal Brompton and the National Heart and Lung and Imperial. So what is a cardiologist? So a cardiologist is the person that, if they see you smoking and drinking, oh, thank you for the job security. And the story that I'd like to tell today really starts from a few years ago. I was on a train, it was a Saturday morning, and I just casually flicked through my emails as you do on my journey, and then there's an email from Andy. And it just says those few simple words that really started off this journey, which is, my son died yesterday, and that was it. And out of something so tragic, something that was so moving, the question then immediately arose, what happened, how, why, all of those things that was so important. And it turned out that the condition was something called myocarditis. And what is myocarditis? It basically means inflammation of the heart. Everyone gets a viral infection, everyone gets the flu. But as we've seen so readily with COVID and what happens, occasionally that viral infection can attack the heart and cause damage. And some patients can get rhythm disturbances, the heart goes skew-if and doesn't beat regularly, and in other patients it can cause heart failure. And that's what happened to Alex, and the reason why we're here today, because of that. And the discussions that then happened with Andy were really about how we can make an impact. And one of the things that Andy said was that along the way, there's going to be fun in celebrating the life of his son and making something good out of that. And I'm sure in some way he thought, well, if you want to make an impact, how do you do that as a single person? Just speak to your wife, because they have impact. And then that journey there then was about, well, what is myocarditis? The inflammation of the heart. Why haven't we heard about it? What does it mean? How common is it? And all of those things you Google, but the amount of information was relatively limited at that time. And then fast forward the COVID pandemic, and suddenly inflammation of the heart, COVID, the viral infection, these are things that everyone knows about, that everyone talks about. And really being aware of it, that it is such a global issue and something that affects many. But as part of that journey, the plan was that we were going to target 3 key things. One was improve the diagnosis, the identification and the diagnosis of how people recognize it. Very often it affected young people in the prime of their lives. They got a bad viral infection, they felt unwell, they thought it was just a bit of flu and that they'd recover. And then over time, they realized that things actually take much longer than that. The second thing that was going to be important was finding a treatment for it, and how you can improve management. And then the third thing was a cure. And as part of that, that really has been very much a teamwork. Together with that, there was a big fundraising program. And if I give you only one tip this evening, it's don't stand anywhere next to Andy, because he will get you to fundraise. And so it was a couple of years ago, Andy came up to me, he'd done all of this work to fundraise, and then he said, here's a check for a large amount that he'd raised to help fund some of the research, followed by the words, would you like to run the London Marathon next year? And I'm thinking, no, I wouldn't. And suddenly, whenever it was, April the next year, I found myself running in the London Marathon. I've got the 7-kilometer bus behind me the whole journey. I was so slow, they'd run out of drinks. I had to dip into a petrol station to get a marathon bar because that seemed appropriate, but because they'd run out of jelly babies and other things. But eventually, catch the tube, catch the bus, catch the train, you make it to the end. And along the way, getting beaten by Elvis, the Rhino, and a few other things. But in the end, it all came good. So 1 year of aching joints and stuff, but don't stand anywhere next to Andy. He came up to our research fellows and said, would you like to do a skydive? And again, same thing, say no, okay? So just stay silent. But out of that has been an amazing difference. And it'd be good just to share with you briefly just some of those things about what have been some of the achievements from that. So one of the things was, we said to Andy, one thing that'd be really great would be to think how we can get drugs into the heart without causing side effects, and how we can target these viruses when they attack the heart, treat them without affecting other parts of the body. And so we gave a pitch to Andy, he supported it, and one of our fellows went off to MIT. He worked with a guy called Bob Langer. Now, some of you may have heard of him, many of you may not. Bob Langer is probably the best bioengineer in the world. And you will have heard of him when I tell you he was the inventor of the Moderna vaccine. But suddenly to have someone of his caliber thinking about myocarditis even before it was on his radar because of COVID, and then the Moderna vaccine comes in, he knows all about COVID, and suddenly and myocarditis, that message has spread. That was an amazing achievement to have a fellow there to look at how you can treat that. The second thing was, why do patients get it? We know that it runs in families very often. There could be a genetic possibility for that. So Andy and the foundation and the charity funded work to look at the genetic etiology. And we're really proud of the fact that by bringing in patients, by bringing in a community, we can now identify patients that are at risk that have had it because there are gene abnormalities that cause it. And that's our first pathway to cure. And so taking that forward, Mamina, who's one of our very talented fellows here with her husband today, is looking at something that I think is really cool, which is that rather than working on mice or rats where their heart systems are very different, she's taking skin cells and urine cells and converting those into heart cells, into beating heart cells. That's amazing technology. But what it means is that you're looking at the human heart without having to take the heart out. And if you can work out why these heart cells are damaged and what the virus does, that's an amazing thing. And I can say that because I had no role in any of that technology, but being able to harness that is what Mamina will do. How does the virus affect the heart? How does it make that difference? Using heart cells, beating in a dish. That's really amazing technology. So if we can work things out, we're on the journey towards a cure without telling us what happens in mice. And then, so working out that's going to be a really important thing. The final thing that we worked on is many of our patients in forums that the foundation set up said repeatedly, it's very difficult to get a diagnosis. We'll go to the GP 10 times, we'll try and work out what's going on, but we could just get told it's flu or it's a bit of shortness of breath, whatever. So building a point of care kit that tests for heart disease is one of the other things that we're working on with some of the best bioengineers at Imperial College. And so that ability to have a test that's by the bedside, but by the patient, that gives you a result in 5 minutes, tells you, yep, you've got a big heart problem, or no, you haven't, and then you know who to escalate, is a really big thing. So that's working with a similar sort of thing that we now have with COVID, but with lateral flow is one of the other big things. So there are many, many things that have been achieved, and all of this can only have been done by a team, by everyone's contributions. And so really what I would like to do is to celebrate not just those achievements, but what's happening going forward. And to each of you, to thank you for your part that you play. Never ever underestimate your impact and your role, because it happens as a team, as a community, as a village, as a people, and we've seen through COVID that it's a global thing. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you to the charity, and thank you to all of you. I'd like to close by just, I apologize. I'd like to close by just presenting Andy. If I may ask Andy just to come forward for one moment and show him what impact looks like. So this is a chart that just shows where the paper and the work that Andy has read has supported, has been read by across the world. And when we look at the journals and we look at who's been downloading, and you can see that from this small site, just within 10 miles of here, you're having work that's being read when you look at the downloads all across the world. And that is impact. So never ever underestimate your achievement, what can be done. And Andy, this is a small token from us to say thank you very much. It now gives me great pleasure to hand over to Andy and to say a few words.
Thanks. Sanjay, I don't think we could do this clearly without you, and I think early days where we were trying to get on top of what happened to us, it was very hard to find answers, which really led us to do what we do. And to be able to stand here 9 years later with the achievements and just looking at the map of the world and where we're getting through to people with myocarditis is huge. And we're close to coming to our 10-year anniversary next year. I'm going to come on to that a bit later. I can see Pam staring at me because the meal's going to come out in a minute. So I think I will leave it there and pick up again a little bit later. Meal's coming out, enjoy, and we'll give you an update where we are with the charity and a few other things going on. So enjoy the evening. Thank you.